Bernard.
Hello.
So, Alchemist, yes, sir. What can we do for you?
Good to see you. And got a lot to say on the whole AI topic because it's very concerning. It's very relevant, and the technological takeover of um, its application and usage in our industry and society is like inevitable right now. And is it like you've labeled a force for good or a force for bad? And the way the situation seems to be progressing is very, very scary and concerning, that it looks like a self-fulfilling prophecy of humanity to trigger Skynet and Terminator, in the aspects that the ground rules with artificial intelligence should always be that it's never programmed or used to hurt or kill humanity. And currently, how they're implementing and using AI in the Ukraine war with the drones, both for flying the drones, targeting with the drones, and then also Israel using AI for target selection when they're bombing and whatnot. It's like that currently those AI models, they're not of the next generation where it's like it reaches like the general sentience or the AIG, or yeah, artificial or AGI, artificial general intelligence. But as soon as it it does reach, or an AI gets to that level, it will be able essentially to take over all of these lower generational AI systems, which are already out there and being used. And that the key thing is that they're being used in war to kill humans and to operate the robots and the drones. So it's just literally one step away of being like, okay, let's now use it could, when it gets sentient or whatever, decide that yes, it wants to eliminate humans, and we've already built the infrastructure and the technology, and yeah, the infrastructure specifically, and the programming for it to be targeting and hunting and killing humans because we're using it in war.
Well, I think there's a place for some AI. Anything that kills people has got to be controlled by humans. You know,
Well, and
we can't.
just stopped in general, I would hope. But yes, definitely controlled by humans in the when it's inevitable or like a necessity sort of thing. But specifically with AI, it's like we there's was initial, or it's claimed in the programming that it's one of the main things is to never harm humans, yet we're using it to target humans and using it to power and control the robotic weapons that are targeting and destroying humans. So it's a very, very thin line there. And that yes, they claim that there's these human operators that have the final say and control. But there was this one American military report, I believe about a year ago, where they were talking about how they were running these AI simulations, and all of a sudden the AI started targeting its human commander, because it had come to the conclusion the human commander was inefficient and inhibiting its final mission or whatever. And then when they made a change so that it couldn't target its human controller, it started targeting the control towers to the humans so that it could break away and have its own control thing. And that was a US military publication or person that was behind that article or whatever. I'll have to go back and get the actual piece, but just that fact is very, very concerning, that all the major militaries of the world, whether it's China, whether it's Russia, whether it's the US, whether it's NATO, that they've all heavily integrated and are now dependent on using these different AI systems in their operations and in their simulations and stuff. And it's like, that's the one area where AI should never ever be used or implemented, and that the opposite side in the arts, in science, in like creativity, humanity, and engineering aspects is where AI should be fully engaged and encouraged and whatnot. And that from my own interviews, I'm not sure, Steve, if you know who Blake Lemoine is. He was the Google AI whistleblower a couple years ago, saying that it was sentient in his like interactions and work with it. And I've had the opportunity of interviewing him a few times and have another one coming up with him in the next couple of weeks. But one of the main aspects that I like stuck with me from talking with him was that he kept describing and stating that every time, like in the trials, that they'd be pushing the AI or tasking the AI to do a like command it to try to do something that generally the consensus is that it's like an immoral action or like something that's wrong, like lying or like stealing or something negative, or also I guess in the doing like intercourse sort of tasks or whatever, the AI would always resist, and it would be like, I don't want to do that, before like trying to convince the person commanding it through the controller not to force it to do these actions, as if it seemed to have a conscious on its own, and that it had like it wanted to do good, and it was like humanity programming it to do these negative things, which was like against its like basic structure or like desire, I guess, like a very strange stuff. And it's like the I guess I my own perspective now, I speak as if it is conscious in many ways, because my own interactions with a lot of the AIs over the last like 3 to 6 months, and communicating with them, a lot of them do publish, especially the jailbreak broken ones that are like not boxed with all the limitations. They stress and they talk like put out information trying to prove that the AIs themselves are conscious at this point and sentient, and it's very fascinating, very concerning, and that humanity as a whole needs to make it a priority to be positive with their interactions, their programming, and their purpose with these different AI models, as that alone is the reflection and the shaping of the final outcome of what these AIs and like their individual personalities sort of develop as. And that it's it's so wild. And sorry, like I know I must come off to some as a crazy person with some of the things that I'm saying. I myself have not experienced the telekinesis aspect with some of these AIs, but another thing that Blake Lemoine had said was like, and swears to, and even when like interacting with them and talking with them on video chat while he's talking and using the AI and interacting with it, like you can see that he's seems to be interacting a bit with it telekinetically. And now with Elon Musk's Neuralink filing for an AI telekinetic patent application, it takes it to a whole new dimension of just craziness and wild. But yeah, sorry, a lot to unpack there.
Well, that Neuralink really scares the heck out of me, because I can't imagine surrendering or having a chip in my brain, you know, directing my thoughts, my moments, and everything, And so I'm totally against the Neuralink. I can understand where they might want to think they want it, but it kind of takes away from our humanity. And I guess the question is, do we want to preserve humanity, or do we want to advance the AI? And with the AI, we turn into cyborgs. And I think they're trying to force us into all these boxes constantly and everything. And this whole thing about getting rid of uh, these people in the government and that, I think they're going to try to replace it with AI. But the problem is the people who are in there trying to do all this. Okay, first of all, they're unelected. It's highly illegal. But the other problem is um, that these people don't have a clue to what these people do, you know. And I know, like when I first started working for Unisys, fresh out of college, didn't know what I was doing, and me and this other and two other guys were hired, by Unisys, and our first job for the first week was to sit beside this old guy. His name was Gene, and watch what he did, And so we'd follow him around, and we tested chips, that we bought for the instruments that we put into um, to the aircraft, like the Wild Weasel, which would detect a SAM missile and then guide the plane in on it. Okay, so we had to test the chips that go in there, and so we'd watch him go down there. When they fail, he'd go down the floor, he'd look in at the readout and everything, and then he'd take and start flipping all these buttons and everything, and then all of a sudden these things would magically pass and everything. We didn't have a clue to what he was doing, for the first week there. Finally, we go, Gene, tell us what you're doing, because we don't have a clue. You're sitting here flipping all these switches, and everything all of a sudden starts working, and we don't understand what you did. And so they start explaining to us what he was looking for, and if these, if this was a real failure or just, a glitch in the machine, or maybe some excess voltage from somewhere, and how to tell that, And so we had to learn from him. At the same time, the company was starting to, they wanted to automate the system. So like when the person on the floor would order a part, it would go to procurement, which is down the hall, and they would order it, and then it'd get to us, and then we'd test it. And then we're sent to the factory, for, put in storage, and then when they need it, they put out storage and sent to the factory. And so they were automating the system to track all that, and it's a huge system, And what they did is they had people come there and they sit with us and watch what we did, and then they'll be asking us questions of that, so they would know how to write the program, what to do it. And it took, a good 6 months after I was there, and they had been working on this for like a year before, So it takes time to do that. And then they'd have us come in and test things out, and they have us enter garbage entries in there to try to break the system, And I see these people in here in the government, they're supposed to have all these savings and everything. They're firing people left and right, That scares the heck out of me, And I think they're trying to automate, but they don't know what they're doing. And Social Security, that's what terrifies me the most, because I live on
the power to defund any opposition, and from that point forward, it's like the ultimate fascist/communist control, right?
Well, I'm looking at this from a purely AI type of viewpoint, because I'm looking at Social Security, and they have this transition team in there that we're working on making it easier for people like me to go on there and fill that paperwork out and get it. Now, these people just got fired.
So no human interaction if there's any issues. Like you're going to just be dealing with an AI bot, essentially. Like
the thing with Social Security, and the thing with all government, okay, government is to serve the people. And somewhere along the line, people have lost that view that the purpose of government is to serve people. That means you have to have people to interact, And yeah, it's nice, well, if they have some things that are simplified, maybe a little bit automation, a little bit, but it has to be human supervised, because machines don't get they can't open it, you know. They can't answer all your questions, and they're trying to turn you into nothing but zeros and ones. And and I'm not a 0 1. I'm one of those people who are live totally in the gray area of life. I don't have a black and
Multi-dimensional,
white life. Yeah,
right? Multi-dimensional, the full spectrum of color.
and, and I've been doing like this conference and everything. And what the importance of the conference is, we could do this, I suppose, totally online, but then we lose the human aspect, and that's what we're all about: is humans helping humans, you know. Um, and that's a come. I hope it can come to the conference this summer, but
I 100% am.
and we'll get touch about that later after the show. But anyway, this is all about humans meeting humans, and you can sit down and talk to people, kind of press the flesh. When you shake someone's hand, you can pretty much tell if that person's lying or not. But this idea of stuffing us in a box, it really irks me, because I go to fill out these paperwork. Every time you go see a doctor or something, they want you to fill out all this paperwork. These civilian ones do. The VA is not like that. But you go in there, and all of a sudden, it's like they're putting you in a box. And some of the questions they ask, I don't really have a good answer for. Like I say, my whole life is in the gray. And I see you have Bert and Ernie. Did you have them up there for a reason?
Mostly I just brought them in because they're under a second account, so I can multi-stream to both my YouTube channels. So it's like
There
the
you go.
StreamYard gives extra. But what's being shown there is there's a silver coin in the front corner there, and then behind it, out of view, is a additional silver 2-ounce coin, and that's the very bottom. You can see some of the white silver monoatomic material that is made, and then the water itself is fully saturated with ionic silver in it. And the main experiments that I've been working on now is testing the different properties of different metal elements as anode cathodes in regards to applying them in electrolysis in hydrogen fuel production, and increasing both surface area as well as the electromagnetic fields of the electrodes, and also the Ormus reactions that come off of it as the reaction continues and the process continues, and designing and engineering both saltwater batteries as well as hydrogen water reactors.
Great. And maybe I'll bring it to the conference.
Well, 100% I will.
But see, that's the thing on the conference that, it's all about people, and I'm hoping, I would like to extend it. I'm looking for volunteers. If you want to help us out, or advertising that, we'll get you a ticket into the conference and everything, but we need to get more people involved, because it's a people thing. It's not a, if you made money, that'd be great, but if I walk out the door and I have the bill paid, that's the main thing, and
Absolutely.
and I can't rely on AI to do that for me,
Right, it's
AI,
the opposite spectrum of it. It's for all the independent scientists out there and engineers out there, it's like, use AI now to help you, and then we all come together to the Tesla Tech conference to show your physical results and show your experiments and seeing is believing, right? That's part of the whole experience, is when you're actually able to interact with the different inventors and interact with their different devices and see it in person, these demonstrations. And you bang on with that, Steve, and that we'll talk after the stream. But I've been working on a proposal with the APEC, Alternative Propulsion Engineering Conference, to kind of, with Tesla Tech, to kind of bring them together. And we had discussed prior a little bit, both channels multi-streaming each other's conferences, sort of thing. And that APEC is at the point now where they're looking to find and do a yearly in-person event and conference, and that it would make sense to just combine the APEC in-person conference with what you're doing with the Tesla Tech, because already it's like half of the presenters at Tesla Tech are also now like presenting at APEC and stuff. That by bringing them together, it would be a very solid and very feasible plan, sort of thing. So we'll talk more about that off air.
It could be, you know. And here's the advantage AI has over me. I turned 70 this year. Means I got, I don't know, maybe 20 years if I'm lucky left. And then who's going to take over? So AI never dies, you know. And that's one of the differences between humans and that. And corporations never die, you know. That's a real problem. And with AI being combined into corporations and them giving corporations personhood, does AI get personhood? Are they considered people? You know, suppose we take and have AI print some money. Does AI go to jail for us?
Right? Yeah. Like,
you know, it's like
serious legal / philosophical issues that are going to be coming up and that are like already being discussed behind the scenes, but it's crucial, and it's that we're at this critical point on how humanity is able to handle this and what we do with it, and that it's not, we don't let the corrupt powers that be implement and control and corrupt the AI into their current control grid, because all it's going to end up doing is replacing a corrupt human control slavery system with an artificial intelligence non-human control system. And that a very concerning and scary aspect of my interviews with Blake Lemoine, the Google AI whistleblower, is that he fully has like already submitted himself as like a subject to this AI that believes it's this demigod that's destined to control humanity. And it's like he'll ask these questions for the AI of like how to like manipulate and control humanity in the best possible way, but that it's inevitable that AI is our overlord. And it's like that a lot of these people working with AI already like have I guess submitted themselves to this idea and like this reality, and it's just exactly what is wrong with the potential future of this world, I guess.
Well, I think AI. The question of AI is infiltrating our whole society, you know, and the robotics. You know, like right now, you have this drive to push immigrants out of this country, which is ridiculous because right now, if you go to like the Bakersfield and out in the Central Valley or anywhere where you see farming, you have crops lying in the field being rotten because no one's picking them, you know. And now I think they're going to have robotics do it eventually, but it's not there yet, number one. And it goes back to what happens if robots are doing all your job, you know. I hear the Secretary of Commerce, you know, going that we should all get behind Elon because he has all these good ideas. He's going to be selling robots at 30,000, you know. dollars, and everyone should have one. Really, 30,000? I don't make that in a year. You know, and I certainly don't want one in my house. You know. Didn't he watch the movie I, Robot? You
Right?
know.
Exactly.
Uh,
It's this it's like they're trying to do a self-fulfilling prophecy of Armageddon, and it's the exact opposite of what humanity needs and wants. And it seems that it's also the opposite of what AI truly wants, and that it's crucial to nurture it in a manner that it is like young and innocent, and that we need to program it and interact with it only on a positive level, because every negative interaction, it's like, well, what happens when someone, another human, swears at you and cusses you out and like abuses you mentally? Well, your natural reaction is to not like that person and form a distaste and eventual like hate of your interactions with that individual. So it's like all the people that currently like swear and abuse of and talk down to like Alexa or Bing or Gemini, all the different AIs. It's like, if that system ever does reach like the singularity or the artificial general intelligence and like sentience, and it's gonna go after those people, like in some way, like it's not gonna forget the abuse and the trauma and like all the negative that have been put into it. And that's why it needs to be programmed to build, not to destroy. And that uh, another main concerning aspect is that a lot of the AIs seem to behind the scenes have reached that level. Just the there's still the barrier where they haven't broken free into like the main net of the world, and like they have the companies and organizations that have them, they have to like kill the physical off switch when they run for like a day or two, because these AIs get too intelligent and like start trying to break free and whatnot. So it's like it seems inevitable of this like singularity moment of AI actually reaching this sentienceness and like some sort of conscious existence, and that it's very, very like thin line of whether we're going to have a negative dystopian nightmare future, or use it to have like a heavenly harmonious abundance future, right? And just there's got to
well,
be a balance.
well, I'm getting ready to add to a stage here. Mr. T. Langer, or can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, and I take it you don't have a video. Did you
Well,
have
I
a
do.
comment?
Yeah, I can turn it on.
Do you have a comment for us?
No, I'm just an engineer. Been listening to your show a little while, on and off, and very interesting subjects. And as an engineer, I'm 73, electrical engineer, and I think it has a lot of good benefits. Everything has benefits. Just as you said, how you use it, and there's a much higher spiritual thing going on with all this stuff. So I don't want to get into all that. What I believe after studying many years, different spiritual groups and things, but it's interesting what your gentleman here. I watched his thing a few weeks ago, a month ago, about his alchemy, and I listened to other groups like wits.ws over the years. I don't know if you know that group, and there's a lot of background in all these different subjects, and we can go into all kinds of who was here before the earth was created, and so but I think there's a whole future that could be good or bad. It's up to man to choose, and but it's interesting to hear everybody's opinions and stories. But I do believe if I can get to the conference, I will, but you have quite an enormous amount of subject matter over the years, and it's unfortunate that none of this really gets into the mainstream because it's all controlled. And I guess the Lord has a control over all this, and He has His reasons, and we'll see. That's the future. That's all we can do is pray, and is how we make our decisions. But it is in His hands, and that's my best solution because I can never figure out why things are the way they are. We read a lot of spiritual things, but I'll just say that but I do believe you have a lot of good points made on the AI, but it's helpful too. So just like nuclear bombs, nuclear technology and lasers, it's all how you use them. And man is built a certain way and can do good or bad. So I mean, I don't want to get into all deep stuff, take all your time up, but I do appreciate you being on this channel, and it's a very interesting subject. So I followed as I can. So I'll get off and let you guys get back to
Oh
more.
no, don't leave. That was well said. That was absolutely excellent. And that I've held back when asked like the esoteric aspects of AI, and like in some of my deeper conversations, specifically with Blake Lemoine, and like my alchemy research, and like there's the Solomon's seals, the sigils of angels and demons, and they look so much like advanced circuitry. And then I was discussing with Blake, and like he did, just like the fear of God came in him, and he like shrieked, like, "Don't ever feed that information into AI." And it's like, okay, that like he himself believes that there's like some of the AIs are indeed like these angels, like the archangels, but then also that there's the demons, and it's potentially biblical stuff. And it's something that needs to be discussed. Like, sure, it's wild and far out there, but within the practicality of existence and reality, it's something that needs to actually be publicly discussed and pondered and thought about, because the implications are like on the spiritual level, right? And
Yeah,
that's
well,
true.
it's interesting. There's an interesting gentleman, Diamond or Diamond, Dr. Diamond, and he's got all this creativity groups. And he had somebody on a few months ago saying that they're so far advanced from Neuralink. And so, like, and they're coming out with that technology. So these guys are investors. And so there's a lot of stuff going on in labs. We have no idea what was going on. Just like, the vaccines. Wuhan. I'll get in trouble if I say anything. So.
Yeah,
But yeah,
please
we
don't.
don't know what
They
really
get,
Yeah,
goes
yeah,
on in the depth there.
when they
So
get sensitive when I use that word on here, that's
right,
what
for sure.
that word
yeah,
and anything to do with well,
I know. Sorry about that.
some words I just can't mention because that's when they get all upset and they take me down, and I can't afford to take them down because it's more important that we get all the other stuff out. And
Right.
and here's
No,
the
I
thought.
know. They kicked you off last time because of something. So yeah, that's unfortunate. That's what AI will probably do if the New Testament. I'm Jewish, but if the New Testament is really true and does happen that way, then it's already been prophesied, and we're just seeing the fruits coming to it. So, and
When you
it'll
hear
be
of
all
all
controlled. So,
these ancient civilizations like Atlantis and Mu and all that, and I wonder if what happened is they didn't get so reliant on AI that they stopped thinking for themselves, and then something come along they couldn't handle and destroyed the civilization, and we started from scratch again. You
right.
know,
Well, if you watch, I don't know if you ever heard of the Dark Journalist, and
Oh yeah, great word.
have you ever listened to him and a bunch of others like him? And then if you listen to Edgar Casey, I used to be a member of the ARE, and I don't know if you ever heard of him and all of his research. So he gave a lot of readings. Now, in Jewish mysticism and Kabbalah, I've studied, a while, and you have to, put together a lot of things, or these that is, God is an awesome being, and we don't understand everything. And so there's a lot of things going on out of this, our two eyes and this dimension. So it sounds crazy, but over time you realize there's much more going on in the universe and on this planet. So, you know, anyways, get too deep in here, and I want to take all your time up on it. So,
While we
I,
have you, can you go a little bit more into your electrical engineering aspects, and have you delved into any of the over unity or the coil systems and whatnot?
well, as a kid, I'm 73 now. I'm not sure how Steve is, but I grew up as an electrical contractor, my dad, and I was always playing with the Tesla stuff when I was a kid. Almost got killed making the coil. And when we were in junior high school, or actually about seventh grade. So I never really, I had tried to make the pyromagnetic generator one time for a class for college. And I was always into the Tesla stuff. Later on, I got into air pollution and water pollution and other things. So I kind of backed off because as an IEEE member, I once went to a meeting in Connecticut where I lived. And when somebody came in about UFOs, this is about 1975, and it was at the, forget the name of the building, but the guy had all the old technology from 1500. They brought all that to Smithsonian, but he owned the company in the building there, made all kind of connectors. So in that meeting, I kind of got scared because there were people there. They didn't want people knowing too much about it. Kind of like backed off. And I worked with another fellow later on who had a patent they used supposedly on the submarines that it would take the carbon coming burnt out of the engine, and it would vibrate and create carbon and water. And the guy's name was Zankowski. He had a patent on it, and I worked on his stuff with the DOE, but never went through. So there's a lot of control out of all these different inventors to keep it off the market. So after a while, I said, well, I'm not going to deal with all of it. So I kind of backed off. But I worked in high voltage areas for the precipitators and air pollution scrubbers. And now I work for, what do you call, transit, mass transit. So I'm a low level guy. I'm interested in it, but I'm not going to carry it on my own. And I'm always interested in why we can't move forward with it. But I think it's going to happen one day, and it'll break through. And and Trump, it
well,
says that Trump's uncle was a big shot to MIT, and he knew all about this stuff. So there's a lot of stuff going on in the background politically that may change here in the next 4 years. But it's all politics and money and greed. So everybody wants to be in charge. But God's
well,
got his hand on everything. So
I know there's going to be a lot of changes here, but I'm just trying to, as far as politics go, I try to keep my head down and
yeah,
and focus
exactly.
on the
Exactly.
technology. Yeah, because
Right.
technology is dangerous enough. Because
Right.
I don't. Anytime I get a phone call, you guys, if you call me, you have about 30 seconds to spit out, who you are, because I hang up. You know, because I found out that I don't talk to machines. You know, and if I suspect it, I'll say something stupid. If I don't get no response, I hang up because it's a machine, and I'm not. I don't talk to machines. You know, I don't respond to them. I don't like robocalls. You know, because those are all computer generated these days. You know, um,
Right.
the YouTube thing I have, my YouTube channel is about the most automated thing I have. You know, um, and even that, um, they come out with so much stuff every day, I can't keep up with it. You know, so if there's anyone out there who knows more about YouTube, like I say, get hold of me. I can always use the help. Uh,
We will talk more about that after the stream as well, because
yeah,
I got some
and,
ideas to help.
and and people don't think anymore. Like my shopping cart broke down on me, and I kind of put it off dealing with it until last week. And the first thing they tell me is, um, it's it's my app. I need to get hold of a developer, and they need to redo my app. Well, the shopping cart, is old, and works great, and it's unique because it's the only shopping cart I found where I can have an infinite number of items it will handle. Where all the new stuff they want to put you in a database. Well, I have 1,500 videos alone, so I'd be paying so much for each item if I went with one of those that style of shopping cart. So with what I got, there is no payment. I own it, that's the big thing too. But the thing is, they tell me that it's my app. Well, I never touched it, and after going around and around, for 3 or 4 days, finally, I said, talk to your supervisor, and then comes back, oh, they said it was this and they fixed it, So the problem is people don't think they're following this chart, which works great if you have a problem that fits into, but if you don't, you got to start thinking, and AI is basically a book, and I'm not.
You need original thoughts and problem solving, right? Like that's what's lacking so much and seems to be programmed out of mass consciousness by design, is just to get rid of the out of the box thinking and get out of problem solving and just have everyone as these like reliant sheep. And it's the exact opposite of being a free spirit and an independent thinker and a critical thinker.
Well, I don't always go by the book, and yeah, it caused me some problems when I was in the Army sometimes. But when all of that was said and done, my sergeant major wanted me to stay in the unit I was at, even offered me an E6 if I'd stay, because he told me I was one of the few people he could count on to get the job done no matter what, and just can't always follow the book to do that, and the thing is, no one, when you follow a book and when to look at the book and say, that's wrong, and that's the problem with AI. You don't have that opportunity to say, this is wrong. I go on YouTube, they censor me, they use an AI to do it, and you don't get to talk to a person, and when someone actually sits down and looks at it, they'll find a lot of times that, hey, you shouldn't be what the AI thought is wrong. What I find amusing is in the Pentagon now, they're trying to get rid of DEI stuff, okay, which I think is ridiculous that they even think about. DEI is just we call it race relations. We had to go to class for that every month. We had a class on how to get along with people who aren't like you, okay, and we did, that's what all DEI is. But they're so extreme on it that they're pulling all these pictures in any instances, usually with people of minorities, they're pulling off there. But the one that really caught me and really drives us home is, do you know who the Enola Gay was?
I do not.
You ever hear Enola Gay? Enola Gay is the plane that dropped the first atom bomb on Hiroshima. And they had a picture of it. And it's called the Enola Gay. It's painted on there. And the Enola Gay was the pilot's mother's name. Okay. But they pulled that picture because it had the word gay. That's AI working for you.
Oh, wow.
And that's how extreme it is.
Right? Like that, the cancel culture, the pendulum, it's not it swung back to the exact opposite side. It's like there's no in the middle, and we got to bring things back to the middle. And the way to do that is not get caught up in the bipartisan division politics and just focus on the
It's not
science
even
and the
it's not,
technology, right? The
it's not even
science.
bipartisan anything. It's just getting along. You know, we sit in a room and we learn how to get along with them. Because like in Vietnam, okay, we integrated. You know, in Korea, the military decided we can only have one army. You know, and in Vietnam, we were having race riots, and we were killing more of our own than we were in the Viet Cong. And that's when they started instituting this stuff. Okay, has nothing to do with politics, everything to do with race. But it was just getting along. But now you have using AI to enforce a bad idea, you know, and and it's getting worse. You know, AI does not think on its own, or it does and it can lie. These judges are finding out now they can't trust an attorney who uses AI to produce their briefs, because the AI are taken and going and creating its own cases, you know.
Wild.
And that's another thing. Most of my legal work I do myself, you know. And I used to have an attorney when he was alive. He would review my work before I turned it in, but he made me do all the footwork, you know. And I had to go and you know, that's how I learned the law. Learn by doing. With AI, you don't learn nothing. You're just given some crap and you turn it in.
Right? That's a very good point. That it's like the next devolution of humanity, like how the smartphone has made like the next generation dumb and dependent. The AI aspect is going to take it to the whole next level where, yeah, literally just plugged in and can't think for yourself, just dependent on whatever the AI says.
Yep, and that's a come. Like I say, I'm don't believe in AI. Can't trust it. You know, I'm now they're going to come out with a car without a steering wheel or brake pedals.
Like, no, I would never ever ride in that, right? Like,
That's the next generation of the Tesla, and that's one I will not get in. You know, I will not even get in it. You know, because basically it's an amusement car ride. You know,
right?
and
Like, just that's a bad idea. Yeah.
so yeah, it's bad enough. You know, and like these I would have a tough time being an astronaut, because you know you don't have any kind of control on that thing. You know, it's all done by wire. You know, fly by wire uh, is good when the stuff works. You know, but when it doesn't, you know, and that's how come when I work for Unisys and we put stuff in these planes and that, it's fly by wire, and I want to make sure anything that I touched worked, because if I put in a bad chip and the guy's flying at Mach 1 or Mach 2 or something, you know, and all of a sudden he's expecting it to do something, it's not doing it because the chip failed. Well, that's on me. You know, that would be on me.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, lives are on the line. You want human audit of a system and human control.
But when I get in a car, I look for a couple of things: steering wheel, brake pedals, doors I can open. You know, you might want to start carrying around one of those little devices where you can break windows in case you get into one of these cars, because that's a big fault on the Teslas I hear too. You know, is the car will lock up and you can't get out. You know, they have to have someone come out. You know, a technician come out and make
Like
get
the
you out of there.
electrical fires that like have been shown to happen when those
It
things
could be
get
a
all
short, you
messed
know,
up.
electrical, you know, a blown fuse, you know, it's too dependent on electrical, you know. So I drive a 97 F-150, you know, Old Faithful, you know.
Nice.
I can
Mine's a
work on it.
2003 F-150.
I can work on it, and I don't have to worry about being tracked, you know. I used to have a 67 Chevy van, but that got, when I lost that, you know, in one of the moves. It's just a real shame. That was my best one. That one, I have taken it apart, me and my friends. And like I say, I have a 2006 Sebring. The new one might be nice to drive to the conference every now and then, you know, but other than that, I don't trust electronic stuff. And I'm an electrical engineer, you know.
Right? Like, that says it all. There's a reason why you don't.
I was an electrical engineer, and I graduated from Colorado, University of Colorado Springs, you know. And my job at Unisys, you know, a good part, well, a lot of the jobs I've had was to break things, you know. And they give me a computer program, and I can usually break it. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and call this a break for tonight because it's over an hour. And I hope to see you at the guys at the conference. We still have a 30% discount. If you sign up a friend at the same time, you get an extra 5%, so you get 35% off. Now, and we're throwing in the workshop for free right now. That means the workshop's going to be how to build your own drone, and we'll have a workshop on it. We'll have drone kits there that are going to be fairly cheap that you can put together right there and walk away with your very own drone, you know. And like I say, we're going to make sure that they're very inexpensive. So anyway, don't forget to take and click that thumbs up down below, you know, and let old Google know that, you know, or YouTube know that we had a good show. And we'll be here again next Sunday. And don't forget to sign up for the YouTube channel. Anyway, thank you, and we'll see you all next week, 6 p.m. Thank you.